Can
Does
Mark have
anybody
present? Yeah.
Mark wants presentation powers?
Yes,
I'll
please.
grant them momentarily. Mark, I have. Oops. Mark wants presentation. Okay. Mark, I bestowed you the rank of presenter.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is that working? Can you share now? Excellent. Great, you know what you're doing. This isn't your first rodeo. Okay. Cool. Looks very flash. Okay, I will start the recording.
Good.
It started. Great. Good luck, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Trainers Management in Performance Management and Review process. Thank you for making it. First of all, let me read acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and the elders past and present. I acknowledge the ongoing connection that the Aboriginal people have to this land and recognize Aboriginal people as the original custodians of this land. I would also like to acknowledge any Aboriginal people that are present and here today.
Okay, I'm going to skip to, because this was my changes, unless you want to see the changes. But we don't need that, do we?
Yeah, we might as well go over it.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Walk us through what you did. Come in, mate.
I can read it out, Mark, if you want. Changes to our performance management policy and procedure, performance and review process, adjust reward and review program to biannually, enable meetings to occur online, quarterly interim, informal monthly follow-ups, weekly check-in and progress report with manager, progress report. Professional development opportunities, access to online materials and workshops aligned with social, economic and environmentally sustainable work practices where they are relevant, provide ongoing tech support and training for employees adjusting to flexible working conditions.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay. Are you happy for me to read this one out?
Yeah, no, I can't see you anymore. I can only see the screen.
Yep.
Like my,
Okay, the purpose of this policy: ensure consistency and fairness, align to the core values and objectives in our strategic plan, provide managers with sufficient guidance in managing our people to achieve optimum performance to meet our goals, are compliant with fair work legislation, more profitable, efficiency, and adapt to a flexible modern working conditions.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
okay, this is the root of it now, the process.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to start? You don't have to read what I've written here. We can go back to the notes from the questions from the actual assignment. I'm easy with whatever. So
Yeah.
I'll start. The first thing is the IT departments are responsible in this particular process because they've got to, as the company expands over the next 12 months, then going into the 5-year plan, we have to develop a modern technological remote working capabilities. Team leaders and managers will be crucial to monitor the rollout and the transition of the progress, and all staff transitions and training. So they'll be overseeing that, obviously, the transition and training that will be needed. Why? To remove the need for staff to attend the office on a daily, weekly basis, move forward in new ways of doing and being a modern organisation. And, well, we've got the 5-year goal, but we can probably if someone wants to talk about something else, like why the process of how we're going to adjust people, does anyone else want to?
Well, I guess you can kind of add in the why there too, with moving forward in, with keeping your sort of staff, you're trying to get the best out of your staff, creating that sort of work-life balance. So, there's plenty of studies out there to say that, a day a week working from home, is really increase your productivity, because it de-stresses everybody. So it's, there's the big thing is, why we want to do it is to take the stress off some people, help give them some work-life balance back, and then in turn, we get better results.
Yeah, agree with that. It creates a more engaging working environment.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think we're also meeting our legal obligations too, just to touch on like legislation requirements. I think there is a, with the hours and that, just to get the most out of someone's work week so they're not overrun doing that overtime, they can meet that 38-hour week and get the most out of it.
Yeah.
I think in that way we also provide a flexibility to our staff,
Yeah.
which can actually be very motivating for people.
Which is going to help drive those KPIs that we've all set, make them a whole lot more motivated, and a lot more relaxed as well. So there's nothing but positives that can come out of that.
I think it's already, I don't know if it's already been said, but it's more attractive as well when we do hire new staff, to have that flexible option as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially one of our mottos for our company is, the work balance, life and the work balance. I think this will actually help them to achieve it, especially people like with the single moms or with their kids around. So it's good if we can give that balance to them. They can work from home, they can do 38 hours, and that way can be a good way we can for our company too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another good way to measure too is the frequency of which people start working remotely, because I'm sure there'll be certain people that will embrace working flexible and remotely, and there'll be other people who will push back and want to come into the office. So when we're training them or giving their performance review, we'll probably need to set up a plan to work their way out of working from the office and working from home.
Do you mean
So
like
that
setting up a
probably-
roster of who's going to be in the office and who's going to be on home on which days? Or are you going to, do we leave it up to them to decide?
It's going to be both. I think we'll have to work out an agreement, because you're going to have to what the company is aiming to its goals, but then at the same time, you don't want to push people unlawfully
Yeah.
to make them not do what they don't want to do. So you want to create it so it's easy for them to transition out.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, a lot of people will probably embrace transitioning out and working remotely, but then there will be some that probably do like coming into the office and having that set routine.
It comes down to a personal preference, and also some people's houses might be a little bit confined, or they might have the resources at home where we can provide them at the workspace.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, as a managers, we should be looking at their mental health also. Like it's must that they should at least come one day, to the office. So if we can put a roster in that way, everyone at least once a week or twice a week do attend the office. Like it's good for them. Like
To get out of the
social-wise,
house.
mental health,
Yeah.
get the balance out for them. They can choose the days. That's what we can give them. They can choose the days they want. But I think we should put a roster. Otherwise, couple of people who don't want to come, they will never turn up, and that's not good for their mental health.
Especially if they're the fire warden, that might, or the first aid officer, we might need them coming in.
Yeah, that's why I changed the annual fee.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's why I changed the annual fee back to biannually. So you've got that 6 month, 3 month interim, and then the monthly check-ins and weekly just follow up, is so you can monitor and get the feedback on how people are progressing. And remember that we've got 1 year, there's a 1 year goal, and then the 5 year objective is to check in quarterly. So we're actually setting these people up for if they're going to stay with the company for long enough for 5 years, a 5-year plan.
So I
the
think
one-
that's great. That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Is we can put if we know in the 5 years plan where they want to go, we can put up the development plan up there for them. We can set up some development plan for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then here I've just got a few risks. And obviously, everyone add whatever risk you want to add to it.
Does someone want to read those out?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Or if someone else wants to go, does anyone else want to go?
I'll jump on as well.
I'll go next one then.
So some of the risks that we've got there are identifying training gaps, failure to provide necessary tools, wages can be a little bit of an issue, hours that are being worked or not worked can also be an issue, us not completing set time frame, and then motivation. I guess that comes down to finding the right people from day dot as well. Making sure we've got the right culture, the right people doing this. Because there are some people who will work better in a structured environments, and they're really not the ones that go and offer the home workforce.
Just doing a recording.
But yeah, I think everything else is there. So I guess the only thing I would add is just pick the right people, offer them
I think
work and policy for.
with the agreed hours not being met, you've got the other side of that though, and people working too many hours, not knowing when to take a break, and that's a work health and safety issue as well.
So I guess us as managers should monitor the activity on everyone's laptop too. So if someone's
Yeah.
doing 45, 50 hours consistently, bring it up.
Is there, maybe we could install like a program that sort of kicks you off the system after a certain amount of hours? I don't know if that's a thing, but something to look into.
Yeah, I agree. There should be an app in place that notifies you when someone clocks in or clocks out, or how long before they clock out for their lunch break or 15-minute. Or I agree.
Even something as simple as reading the time on the email. If you see one at
Yeah.
7 p.m. and the first one was sent at 7 a.m., you might just want to reply to them. Hey mate, appreciate your hard work. However, take a break. We'll catch up tomorrow. Go spend some time with your family.
There is time management apps as well, which will monitor all of that. So, as long as we're getting that data and we're using it appropriately, there's no reason we can't have that discussion. Like, hey, mate, you're doing 45 hours a week. Like, I love the enthusiasm, but you've got to have a life too, bud. So, go and have a good weekend. Log
This
off.
one, I was going to say this might be a good way to actually find those people who are a bit productive and are enthusiastic to meet their targets and that. And what might be good to be able to reward those people as well. So provide that feedback, but then also maybe we'll be able to follow up with them and say, listen, you seem keen to move on up. Next time there's an opportunity, we'll reach out to you.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're the people you go and ask, do you want to go and do some extracurricular training to get into these next roles?
Yeah.
And also as people working in the workplace, but also as they working remotely, is support. They have to know that just because you're not in the office, you're at home, you still have support.
Yes. Yeah.
So if there's an issue, it's not a big deal to make contact if there is an issue arises or there's a complication. Like it's fine. You just contact, and they have to know like who to contact as well. Like here I've got the IT department for technical, obviously HR or different departments that they can reach out, and we have to make sure that when they do feel like they've got that support, that when they're working from a remote location, that there is a technical issue or support's needed, or I don't know, whatever happens, that they can reach out and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's a great point, because working from home you can feel a little bit isolated. So if there's that connection, whether it's email, phone, daily
Cool.
check-ins.
Or even
That'd be great.
in the quick weekly meetings, we can have them, and it can be in a Zoom web or in a Teams meeting where we can involve everyone from the office and from the home.
Yeah.
And download it and check on everyone. How's everyone going? How's everyone feeling? And that will keep them involved too, and probably that will motivate them.
Yeah.
So you could probably even go a little bit more personal, and those staff that are working from home, just a quick 5-minute phone call saying, how's your day going? Is there anything I can do to help you out? Just those little simple things to let them know that they're not alone. I'm happy to, we're all happy to help wherever needed.
Yeah.
Just doing our bit as managers to make sure we're helping and we're providing what we're there to do.
Okay, professional development opportunities. Does anyone want to read this one out? I
Yeah,
can't see you, sorry.
I'll go for this one. So
Yeah.
we've got professional development opportunities. So ask employees how we can encourage their workplace, provide appropriate training and opportunities without bias, develop strong open communication and feedback, access to online materials and workshop aligned with social, economic and environmentally sustainable work practices where relevant. And the last one, provide ongoing tech support. Tech support and training for employees adjusting to flexible working conditions. What was that last one? Oh, in their workplace. Sorry.
No, I fixed it. Doesn't matter. It's my fault.
Yeah, I think the strong communication is really, really important. So you've got staff that might be a little bit more introverted, so just sort of going that next step, that next level, like we were just saying before, make that phone call, set up the Zoom meetings, and encourage that communication.
And I think development opportunities will actually help us to retain our staff, especially the high achievers. It
Yeah.
will help us to retain them. So it's good that we have them in place for them so that they are here for a good long time.
Yeah, I think also it's important when you ask them about opportunities for training and without being, I mean, it's hard because it said without being biased. You definitely want to be biased, but sometimes you've got to be careful because sometimes people can overshoot with their ambitions. So it's really important, I think, when you lay out a work career path and a goal that it's achievable, because there's nothing worse than setting someone up for a particular goal and they fail. It can be quite detrimental. I'm sure everyone's been through that where you've shot too short or shot too high and it hasn't gone through.
Yeah.
So I think with the appropriate training and career path is I think it's really important to ask them where they think they want to be in 5 years as well as 1 year, because between now and the 1 year, you can carve out a path and opportunities, see what they're capable of, and then keep building. It doesn't mean they're going to get exactly where they want in 5 years, but having the long trajectory where they want to see themselves in short term, it makes it much easier to train people, so much easier.
And knowing that you're there supporting them and helping them, it's
Yeah.
just going to drive them even further.
Yeah, because year one's now it's doable. 5 years, who knows? But at least we're aiming as like a target in the
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously you can't go through every year 1, year 2, year 3. There's particular people you could actually, but we're not. But in saying that, if we had someone who had a training, and let's say they went back to university and started studying a degree or a master's or continued from a particular study and they specialised in a particular field of IT, like say in software development, they did a master's in software development, maybe some of that you could plan a little bit more with them. But with the training opportunities, we also have to think about with the training, how are we going to place them in the company and how they're going to grow? Because you don't want to train someone up to a position that doesn't exist either.
Mm.
Yeah. And I know the go. Sorry.
No, that's what I was just going to say. Even with asking the employee how we can encourage them in their workplace will add up to more of like a collaborative system where they might even have different ideas about where their role might be in a couple of years' time compared to what we will have in mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's a really good point, because I know that when looking, you see where you're going to place people, and sometimes they don't want to be placed where you would like to place them. So I think it's super important to identify what they want and what you want. Sometimes that can clash
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say as well, you know, with the big sort of audacious goals that some people might have, you know, I guess asking the question of, all right, you know, what sort of time frame are we looking to do that? You know, if they say they want to be a CEO in the next 12 months and they're an IT service professional, it's like, well, you know, lofted dreams and I love them, but you know, let's start from step one. So how you want to be a CEO? Cool. What can I do for you to help you get there? You know, what training are you looking at? What can we do as employees and employers to help you get to your dreams? And you know, if they just fall short or you know it doesn't quite work out, well, you know, we can shake hands at the end of the day and go our separate ways and go, you know, we tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also if we mention areas where we also feel that they excel and there's been great feedback, we could sort of suggest, you know, areas for them that maybe they should work on, or maybe they might like looking into as well. Because they might not know, like they might not get the data from the KPIs and realize that actually they excel in customer service, or actually excel at, you know, getting the hardware back online, or you know, but then you might have someone who does do that, but then they're not interested in that at all.
Yeah.
But, all right, we'll go to the next one. Okay. Does anyone want to read the?
Can I nominate Ethan to jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get this one. Legalization and regulatory requirements in performance management. Exerting significant or inappropriate pressure on an employee to modify or alter their conditions of employment is unlawful. This can result in costly fines or legal action, causing operational disruption, financial risk, and reputational damage. Next one is avoid making false and justified promise to employee regarding to promotion, pay, or bonuses. It is unlawful to not knowingly or implicitly make a false or misleading representation. It's according to the Fair Work ACT 2004 and Fair Work Protection at Work. Protection at Work PDF.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's really important, like avoiding making false or unjustified promises to employees regarding promotions, pays, or bonuses. Like, you just lose your trust in your employees, like, or they lose the trust in you. If you were to make promises that just never get fulfilled.
That's why you've got to be so careful when you're making these career paths and plans, because it's a performance review and then you're creating a plan. You don't want it to turn into this list of promises that you need to meet that you don't meet.
Yeah.
So that's really careful. Like Luke said before, someone's to be a CEO, whatever they want to be. You don't want them leaving the meeting thinking they've guaranteed me the CEO role at the end of 5 years of my time here.
Yeah.
So,
That's
So making realistic goals in that sense.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, having those big outlandish goals, you know, they're a good thing. Something
It's great,
nice.
yeah.
But you know, start.
Something to work towards.
But yeah, I guess just making sure that we're complying with, you know, the Fair Work Acts when we're going and doing this. So I guess if we do get stuck, that's why we play our HR team and just make sure that we're doing everything by the books. And, you know, if we're not sure about something, ask the questions. Refer to the Fair Work Acts.
And making sure everything.
Going to someone who understands it more than we do.
And making sure everything's recorded, so don't just on the slide verbally say, oh, you know, if you do this right, you will get this promotion, and then not jotting that down, or because it's going to come back to bite us.
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
documented.
Yeah, the plan, yeah, the plan and the process. It's for today in the next 12 months. It's not. Yeah, it's very easy for people to get lost. Okay, who wants to read the next one?
Who are we up to?
I can do it if you want.
Yep.
Okay, benefits of performance and management for the organisation, team, and individual employees. Number one, creating an action plan. Plan how the team will undertake its work, organise individual daily work plans, and check ongoing performance of tasks. So this is basically just showing what everything we've just been talking about, creating an action plan, what their role is in the team and how the team is going to work together, and also the employees' role in the team, and then organising daily work plans. Well, that'll help immensely because then they're going to know what they're doing, and then checking ongoing performance of tasks. So that when you're checking it, this is important too. The checking is making sure that they know that they've got support. That's why you're checking. You're checking to make sure that the tasks are being met, the goals are being met. But it's an organisational team. It's not a we're checking on you because we're trying to catch you out. It's a but the more they realise that they've got support and there's plans and they can see that we've got control of what's happening, I personally think it makes people feel a lot more comfortable than just saying, "Oh, I'll get to work."
Yeah. And this covers like streamlining processes and that sort of thing. So your decision trees, is that right? Like your step by step, processes that, if someone's unsure about a process, they can just go to the document and follow that and it's all accurate. Yeah.
Because sometimes when you have a team plan, but then the individual doesn't have an actual definition of their role or plan and what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It can be quite hard because it's like, no, this is what your job description is. This is your role. This is your job.
I think that's good to empower a lot of the workers too, so they're not second guessing themselves. They can have something to revert to and say, no, I'm on the right track. I can trust my own judgment. And we can encourage that confidence.
And so you're important too, and this is how you fit into the team and how we couldn't do the big picture without you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like those SMART goals we were reading about. The SMART goals, like that actually give them a very much clear expectations. What it is and what their real objectives are for the employees and for the management. So
yeah.
We need the SMART goals to be done.
100%.
Okay.
I'm happy to do this.
Okay.
So communicating on this work plan, work entitlements, leveling work to make it easily divide, mine in official documents, objectives, employee responsibilities, drivability and management support. And then the breakdown of what each of those are, management support, the scope of what kind of management and assistance is there, drivability, documents and information that are available, employee responsibilities and what we're expecting, and the objectives are pretty straightforward. So I think that slide kind of explains itself pretty. Is there anyone who wants to add anything or jump in on that?
That's why I jumped to this one because we started talking about it in the last one. So.
Yeah.
Yes. No. I think that one's
developing performance standards. Who would like to go?
Yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
Developing performance standards. Determine the work or task performance. Determine the primary responsibilities of that job or task. Create timetables and resources. Describe each task in detail. Define your objectives and metrics. Remind those involved in the production of the performance standards. Establish that they have clear comprehension of the goals and that they are attainable with a little motivational stretching. So I think I've lost my train of thought where I was going. Remind those involved in the production of the performance standards. Yeah, sorry, I've lost where I was going with that.
We were talking about this before that, otherwise that's why I jumped ahead.
Yeah.
So standard stuff from the top. So this is one for us to all drive. So we can't really slack on anything when it comes to this sort of stuff. So meeting KPIs, making sure that we dot every I, cross every T. Then any little projects that are going on, we're going to make sure that we're prevalent, we're involved. We don't just fade into the background. We set that example for our teams.
Yeah. And I think where I was going is like, so paraphrasing and putting it in writing, and if you if they say something to you, just send it back to them saying, just so we're on the right spot, I just want to define, this is what it actually is. Yeah, so just that feedback and that bounce back, I suppose, between us and the team member, to make sure that they do understand what the task is, what the standards are.
Anyone else? The next slide.
Next.
Yep.
I can do that. How employees' performance will be measured, KPIs. Ensure their objective must be specific to a position or role instead of a specific individual. That is, if the member of your team members has the same position, they must have the same performance and the KPIs. The KPIs are measurable values demonstrating how effectively objectives are achieved. A key performance indicator identifies the measurements of the performance of program or business activity and is expressed as a percentage, index, rate, or other comparisons. That's how basically when we're doing a performance review, that we should keep that pretty much in mind, how they are, and our employees should be are aware what their KPIs are. We should actually address them beforehand, and they should be aware of their KPIs, and that's what we should be discussing in our performance reviews, like how have they gone and how we measuring them. So we can either have they exceeded the expectations, are they under there, they're over, how it is. That's what we should be measuring the KPIs and marking them off.
And just the parameters, I was just going to mention accuracy, timeliness, leadership, resources, financials, physical resources, and human resources, quality and quantity or productivity.
You could throw attendance,
Attendance,
and just their knowledge. Going back to what we've spoken about before, just on these KPIs, one, they understand them, but two, if they're not meeting them, do they know why they're not meeting it? Do they know how to bring some skills into their toolbox, I guess, to start meeting them, to help them meet them? And it's all that informal feedback leading up to these reviews, and then not exactly dropping a bomb on them in these reviews. They can say, okay, I know what's expected of me. I know this is coming up, so I want to communicate this with whoever it is if I've got concerns.
Yeah, that's right. Especially if they're underperforming, we should actually give them some kind of, ask them if they need some kind of training, or they need some kind of help, or coaching, or they want to mentor anyone. So that's how we can help them. Then if they still don't come up to the standards, then obviously we have to unfortunately go to the other way, give them a letter, and always make sure we document them.
And making sure, like any mental health issues or home life or anything like that,
That's
just
right.
checking in.
Check it out with them,
Again, it's just making sure we dot every I and cross every T. We do everything as managers to make sure that we're providing the best environment that we can. And if there's something we can do to fix it, then by all means we go and do it. But if it's just not working out, then we go and have to have those tough conversations, and we go down that avenue. But it's certainly not something we want to do. Right. Next one. Happy to read this if no one else is review.
Yeah, if you want, I don't mind. I'm just easy with this.
Right, so standards of performance for all staff. non-biased, legal, ethical, moral responsibilities in line with GEOS policies and procedures, measured fairly and equally within law. I think they're all pretty self-explanatory. It's, we just, again, dot every I, cross every T. And, we can't be doing favours for one and not another. Everything needs to be on a level playing field. Because again, they can turn around and hurt us. So, I don't think there's too much more to add to that. But by all means, jump in.
I think we should give them an opportunity for everyone to read, comment, at their own time, not at the same, if they don't agree with us, not at the same time as soon as they finish the performance review, they need to sign it. So we should give them a good amount of time where they can read it in their own time and then sign it. And if they're not happy with what we have written out to them, they're more than happy to address it to their manager, like to our manager, and let the manager make the call for us then. Because there will be few scenarios where, they won't be happy with what we have written for them.
Yeah, I think what's important there, though, is that we don't give them, we don't sign it off until they've signed it. Because if we sign it and then say, here, can you sign this? And then they run away with it, change everything, and then
Yeah,
make amendments.
I guess that comes back to having those really clear objectives. So, if we have a sales KPI and, they've missed their target by 3%, that's pretty close. So they're working towards their target. So, we've got clear designated scores for everything. So there's no way for that to turn around. There's as good as activity as possible. It's all made clear. This is the score you've got. This is why you've got it. This is how we're going to help you grow it.
I think Mark's read the room and skipped to the step-by-step performance. I think we started going through that a little bit early, Mark.
Do you know what I think's really funny is that the way this has been organised, it naturally pushes the discussion.
Yeah, it does.
You've done well.
But this might be good for someone to read out as well, because it adds on to that conversation.
Can I read this one?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Step-by-step process for organizing and conducting a performance review meeting. First, arrange a convenient time and location for all parties. Secondly, inform staff member of their legal rights support witness. That means they can always bring a support man with them. And thirdly, performance review discussion plan must be completed by both parties per meeting. Next, performance review plan documents must be filled, dated, and signed by both parties for the meeting. And also, if one party refuses to sign, make sure we have a recording for them not just signing this form. From providing employee with a copy of current job description, review performance feedback data together, ask employee their goals, expectations, career paths to help them, ask employee how they feel they have performed, and the company has performed, provide unbiased feedback and discussion. This is very important. Identify areas of underperformance, overperformance, and acceptance meet. Discuss performance strategies with employee. Design a plan together. Remain realistic, ethical, and with the law and in line with GEOS strategy plan. Use critical and creative learning models. Goals and performance must be realistic and achievable. KPIs easily measure performance.
Thanks, Ethan.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good, I think.
Yes. I guess that clearly outlines the.
It does, doesn't it?
Pretty comprehensive.
Detailed one.
I think
We can still talk about it.
I was just going to say, Ethan put a good point in there for the performance review plan document must be filled, dated, and signed by both parties at the start of the meeting, but then added, if it's not signed, if the employee refuses to sign it, you just have to make just record that on the document.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. 'Cause I know about that.
I was also going to just touch on the first and second one, just when informing them. I'd recommend email and then maybe just a follow up phone call and just say, hey, just let you know I did send you this email. I know what it's like. You can probably get a lot of emails in a day. This one is a little bit important. When you get time, maybe just sit down and read it. If you've got any concerns, give us a ring back. Feel free to reply to it, and maybe just go through what it's regarding. And I think when you do organise that time and space to be fairly specific about it, whether it's 11 a.m. on a Friday, you might just want to check with them if that's good for them. Some people might feel a bit overwhelmed towards the end of the week. You might just want to touch base and say, listen, it's nothing to worry about. We'll just go through it nice and easy. And
Yeah,
I
like
just
I know
think
you're
that
saying like a
would-
Monday morning. A Monday morning's probably
Exactly.
a terrible time.
Yeah, definitely. It would be for me. Especially if you knew it was coming, you'd just think about it all weekend. Maybe
Yeah.
tell them Monday afternoon that it's happening Tuesday.
Yeah.
But they're really good, Mark. You've got really
Yeah.
specific, short and sweet, easy to understand.
Yeah.
I just copied all the things that I used to do at work. They used to send me. I just sort of, I didn't write any of this crap. Like, and if something was wrong, this is on record. I shouldn't be saying this.
It's being recorded.
Yes.
They're pretty laid back here at Gelos.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I was going to say with the creative learning models, that could be very helpful too when you're trying to get the employee to think about their career and their expectations and what they want to get done and remaining realistic. Because obviously when people sit down for a performance review meeting, the other thing you're thinking about is a pay rise
Uh-huh.
or a bonus.
That's what I think about.
So
Yeah.
I know everybody says, so if you want them to hit their targets and meet their goals, then obviously performing and getting that bonus or pay rise plays a big part in it. So you want to make it realistic so they're not going to be let down, because there's nothing worse than underperforming and going to sit down and you haven't, and you're not going to get promoted. That's another thing that can be not good as well, when other people around you are getting promoted and you're not. So I think that's why it's really important that these people, the employee, feels like they can communicate what it is that they want. Doesn't mean you give them everything they want, but you understand where they want to go and what they're expected to do, because you definitely don't want to promote someone who doesn't want to be promoted.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't want someone who's crying out for promotion, but sometimes you get people as well that don't want to tell you that they want to be promoted because they don't have that confidence. So I think
Again, to touch on the legal thing, just to explain to them their enterprise agreement, because it might be different for different workers that come to you with these performance agreements. So it might be a good way to explain to them, listen, this is your what you're entitled to every year, whether it's 2% pay rise, or these are the career paths you can take with your career that you're in. So it's not just, IT sitting in front of the computer. IT means a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, does anyone want to go back over any of the slides at all?
Was that the last one?
Yeah, that was it.
I wouldn't mind going back to the KPIs just to see how many we could add to it, or who else might have had different ones.
Can you go to your third slide? It's a simple one, but I think we should cover that. And who does it apply to?
Oh, yeah.
Which policy does it apply to?
Yeah, I've actually got that there. I skipped it. Sorry. Yeah.
That's the one. I think we should be covering that. A third slide. Yeah. So, who does this policy apply to? So basically, this applies to all the permanent staff of the Delios. That's where it applies to.
Or permanent? What about casual? What about contractors?
Yeah. Or paid employees.
I was going through
Would contractors be excluded because they're
Well, contractors would be on their own. Well, 'cause they're
Yeah.
hobbies.
I just thought I'd
Right.
raise the question, like,
Yeah, good work.
yeah.
But
Or-
casuals fall under the same law, so it would be all GLOS staff and management employees, subbies would have their own thing, but they still have to adhere to our policies too. So
Yeah. Yes.
And what do you guys think? How should we do it? Should we do it monthly? After years, 6 monthly. How should we give the performance review to our employees?
I think at least every 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Months?
Um,
Or we-
but I think you also do those informal catch-ups at least every month or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Just so you're not bumping everything on point. You've got opportunity to talk at any given point, really. So at least a 4 to 6 week catch-up in between, and it doesn't have to be anything more than finding things help people. It doesn't have to be more than 10 minutes, but again, just make sure we're doing our best stuff.
And they can be aware of our HR email or phone number if they want to touch base earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because one of the biggest issues is communication. Because we definitely want people sitting down and having a performance review where they feel like we talk to them about, look, we care about you, we want you to grow in the company, and there's opportunity, and we want to help you. And then the meeting finishes and they walk back to the office and it feels like you're just stuck back in the cage again, or you can't communicate, you can't reach out.
Mm.
But that's
Open,
another policy meeting. That's another.
Open door policy.
Yeah.
I
So
was
any
just gonna
managers.
bring up just on that preconceived idea just before you do these, to maybe just clear your head and walk in and see how it goes and be adjustable to how they give you feedback, because you don't want to just be going through the list and not really reading their body language or listening to their questions. So it might pay just to on that point, just to be a bit more open and aware of each person that you do the performance review for. Could be very happy. Listen, I just want to stay here. I'm happy if I get promoted, but it's no big deal. And someone else could be a little disgruntled and be like, yeah, I'm not happy. Can you fix this for me? So two could go very different ways.
Mm.
Yeah, because really this whole system, it is about the employee, but really it's about the company moving forward. And when we check in, we don't need to feel like we're checking in on them and all. We're checking on how we're moving as a company, as a team, and we want everyone to move in the same direction effortlessly at the same time with not too much disruption. And that's I think it's really important that they understand that that's the check-ins or the follow-ups. It's not to catch them out. And also if they are facing issues or there is a problem with performance, that it needs to be raised immediately so that we can resolve the issue or tackle it, or whatever needs to be done in process needs to be put in place. We can get onto it straight away, because as the company expands, if we're taking on 5 key accounts each year, which according to the email, which was the goal, that means more work. So, and also that means we'll need more managers as well.
Yeah.
That's all the
Also-
benefits. It just keeps adding to the benefits. They just never stop. Like, 1, you're keeping the employee happy. 2, you're benefiting the company. You're attracting more talent. You're picking up more investment. You're more profitable. I think those benefits just are endless if this goes well.
Yeah.
And the other reason to check-ins is because if Tina, for example, is taking 50 phone calls a day, and as the company expands, she's now taking 100 phone calls, we need to make sure that we're on top of that. So we want to get staff in and trained before we hit that point. So I think with the KPIs and measurements as well, with the employee, we should be expecting our KPIs should be a little bit higher. So if they say, for example, they can do 50 requests a day, then really we should be aiming maybe at 35 on the case that suddenly the business could spurt and grow, because to get people in and train them is a big issue. This is just between us managers. This isn't like with talking to the employee or staff about. This is like a management type level of meeting and thinking, by the way.
Yeah.
because I'm sure everyone's been in that situation where it just gets really busy, you're inundated with work, and then they're saying, "Oh, we're getting somebody."
Mm.
So when we have these, we do these performance reviews, we have to take into account that as the company expands, we're going to be bringing more people on board, which we don't have to discuss really with these people in detail. But in our plans, we need to have that in our head, and also we need to be looking for people who we can promote to being managers too. Like, is Tina going to become a supervisor as we bring more people on board and so forth as we expand?
That's where I think a newsletter put out on a monthly basis where we could say, listen, we're meeting all our targets, things are great, we're looking to bring in some additional workers. But someone like Tina, she might read that and go, oh, thank God. They're seeing that I need, more people. I've noticed it myself, so everything's working well. Instead of maybe someone at the bottom of the table thinking, does anyone know what actually goes on here? We can provide that feedback.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to go over anything else? Any other slides or
Paul mentioned
about
the KPIs. Was
KPIs?
So I think these are going to be specific, to each position. So they're all going to be a little bit different. And how do we create the specific KPIs for each position? Does that come from HR, or does it come with the position description?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you start the meeting, you'll have the with your legal documents will be included there.
Yeah.
Job description, their role, and all the paperwork or the documentation.
Yeah.
And then the KPIs will obviously they will adjust as well, I'm assuming. So that's why we'll be having that's why I was suggesting at the beginning to have the annual and the quarterly check-ins, because the KPIs might need to be changed according to business growth, or if there's technical difficulties in the rollout with I don't know, the IT platform. Because if there's any headwinds or issues, then we can adjust the KPIs. So if you have a 3 monthly or monthly catch up, and like I said, you realise that the internal customers, with everyone starting to work remotely, are getting swamped with requests, then we can adjust the KPIs until we have enough staff. So, maybe Tina can't resolve within 24 hours or 30 minutes. We might have to, it might be longer until we have the resources in place.
Yeah.
Are there options to add things other than KPIs, such as like their personality? They might be happy, on time, well dressed. Their desk might be clean. Just little things like that. Do they come in, or is it clear, like purely KPIs for this review?
I think the KPIs should include both, like as an operational, operational perspective of it, and the other one, like a professional behavior too. That both should. So, person, like for example, someone meeting the KPI, attending the calls, but they should be pretty, not rude to anyone else. Like, it doesn't mean that the person should be rude and attending. Sorry, that won't be happening. We won't be taking that. So yes, both of them should be coming hand in hand with each other.
Mm.
Yeah, and I guess with your reviews, like you can have different headings. So KPIs can obviously be one of the first things. Then you look at punctuality, and then general attitude as well.
Yeah.
There's so much more than just hitting numbers involved in a business. Like you can hit all of your numbers all the time, but if you're just not pleasant to be around, you're not the right thing. So irrelevant of how well you hit numbers, I'd rather have someone who might not hit them as frequently as that person, who's just a fantastic person and just makes everyone around them better.
I think we should subject it to as a behavior KPI, as a productive KPI, and another thing we should add on to it. Do they think out of the box? Like, do they think something different from the rest, like to make them a high achiever? So if they tick all those boxes, that's the time when we can say, yes, the KPIs are met, they are the high achievers, and they are the ones who need some, extra bonuses or whatever. Need to stand out. For them.
Yeah.
So you've got solid performance, which is exceeding expectations, exceptional performance, which is meeting expectations, and then the below expectations, not meeting the required level.
No,
Yeah,
Perfect.
which is
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
And always we need to ensure that we save it somewhere on the safe place. Like we should always get it signed and document and save it under pretty lock and the key so that it's not accessible to anyone else.
Yeah, it'll be filed with HR, I think.
It's data,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll be definitely following with HR. And that goes back to the legal following the protections of work, not to share their information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's privacy. and
Confidential.
Yeah.
stuff.
So will this, now that we've gone through this, will this be easily accessible on the web? I just remember the email had something that Con will keep a copy to attach to, I think it's a web address that anyone in the company can just reach out, download, and take these into the performance reviews.
Like an internal intranet.
I believe so.
The daily site.
Yeah, it just says Con may have a role in putting the training online. So we can do that, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
If anyone has any future questions about the training, apparently Steve's the guy to go to.
Okay.
So whoever Steve is,
Noted.
hit him up.
Yeah, I've got his email address. I'll send it all around.
Thanks, Sarah. I'll see him at golf.
I bet you will.
Colin said to get into golf if I want to progress my career.
Alright, I think it's almost 1 hour's up.
Yeah.
Has anyone not talked? Does Ethan want to say more? Zoe?
I'm good, thank you.
That was difficult doing that, not being able to see your faces.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, because I
Weird.
can't.
You'll
Yeah.
see us when you watch it back, because I shared my screen, I think, on the first one, and then when I watched
Yeah.
the replay, I could see everyone. So we are here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know you are. It's just you can see people's eyes and reactions. You can see who's going to read or
Yeah.
react or
That's
whatever.
Well, thanks for presenting.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Very
thanks,
well
mate.
done.
You get lots of good feedback because you you can add to it. That's why it's good working in a group or a
Yeah.
team. You can add more and more and more.
So we have to attach the presentation to that question, right? Oh, we'll make one.
What was that? Sorry?
We have to attach the presentation to our assessment.
Not this one, because this one's recorded. But we have to create a document that we upload as
Doesn't
part
have
of
to
our
be as
assessment.
flash as Mark's. Mark's just
Mine
bothered me
is
out of it.
not
Oh,
that
no,
flash.
Mine's in crayon, Mark.
No, that one there is actually not very good. When I normally do presentations, it'll have, because I'm trying to do gigs and concepts, you have way less writing. That's the thing. The person who wrote our test, are we still on record?
Yes.
Probably. Anyway, I'm
Oh.
going to say it anyway. Whoever wrote our
Yes, we are.
tape, it's a boomer. I can tell by the amount of writing. The TDC that we do is done by Generation X. That's a Gen X person.
Which one?
Gen X are more visual.
Yeah.
So
What's the latest one? A millennial? Is that the latest one? What's the latest one?
millennials, it could be millennials that did it as well because they're a little bit similar.
What are my kids then? What would they be?
Oh, I
Gen-
don't know what they are.
Gen
TikTok.
Z.
I don't want to say on
Gen
camera
Z.
what they are.
Theirs will be a
I've got one of those as
5 second,
well.
a 5 second dance.
Yeah.
That's what theirs will be, and you're like, "Park."
The iGen, I think. I don't know what they are.
I did.
The I know everything generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But I can't tie my shoelaces.
That's so true.
I can
You have
hack
to-
into the car and I can do this and I can do all these amazing things. I can solve a Rubik's Cube in 30 seconds, but I can't.
I might get some
Hey,
KPIs
Mike.
for my kids. Get some KPIs, give them a review. Now, I've invited you in here. Have you got a support person? Yes, it's my other sister. No, we'll be on to her soon.
Yeah, but they're good fun though. At the end of the day, like it's
Oh, I'm learning so many dances.
Yeah, I think it's Gen Z.
Is it Z?
I think. Oh no.
How old are they?
alpha, the generation alpha.
Oh.
They'll be 10 and 13 this year. So alpha, there you
Mm. All right. How do we let them know?
Being?
I don't know. Do we leave and go back and let him know, or are we waiting for?
I don't know if that will affect the recording. Does one person want to go back?
I can go back
Thanks, Mark.
if you want.
Okay.
go. But yeah, I do think Gary and Colin are very good teachers.
Mm.
Yeah,
The best.
Yeah.
they're the greatest. And the Sharks, I'm going for the Sharks this weekend.
And Sarah, don't jinx it.
Oh, they played so well though. I actually thought they had it.
Well, they play the Rabbitohs on Saturday night.
And so I'm running out of teams to support at the moment because I can't back. We've beat Melbourne in the grand final, so Penrith and Mark Street.
Did you watch Tom Brady on Monday?
No, I can't get him back.
Come on, mate. Come on. I've got to get into it.
I can't. It's too. I'm waiting for the ice hockey season to start. That's my only American sport that I like.
Ice hockey too.
I love ice hockey. It's so cool.
You got Gary here.
And finished.
Thank
well done,
you.
guys. How
Thanks,
did
Gary.
you feel you went?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, shout out to Mark.
Yeah.
His presentation was very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We've got a great little team.
That is good to hear.